It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmic Voice. Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Voice. This is Season 5, Episode 6. I am here with my co-host, Chris Natalini.
What up? What's going on?
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to another show. Chris, how are you, sir? Welcome back. Welcome back.
I am doing awesome, man. I'm doing all right. I cannot complain. Did some decorating for Christmas here at the house. Tree is up. Christmas gnomes are out. We're getting in the spirit. We're moving along.
There you go. This technically is our official Christmas episode of Season 5.
It is?
I think this may actually be the first official Christmas episode we've done over the past 4 seasons that we are actually airing right before Christmas. We're going to have a Christmas theme episode. Now, that's not to say that all of our other shows didn't have something Christmas to do, but this one actually is happening around Christmas, about some Christmas. So
Are we not going to talk about the Santa Claus interview we did last year?
Yeah, but that was Christmas in July, though. I'm talking about, like, you know.
That's true. Oh,
right.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? That was like in the middle of the summer. So I guess you're kind of right. I guess that would be an official season Christmas episode. But this one's actually happening in the month of December. So I know we're not supposed to, a lot of people say with the podcasts and like since the content is restreamable, right? It never kind of goes away. They always tell you don't date yourself in some of your content. But if you're dealing with current happening events, well, listen, you kind of got to date yourself to some degree. But the information I think that we're trying to pass along to people, whether it's 2022 or 2032 or 1995, I think some of that is relatively the same, right? I think the core of it would be the same. But anyway, back to this, to me, is the official holiday episode for Season 5, our first ever. How do you feel about that?
I mean, well, before we continue with that, I mean, we do talk about Kiss and Beatles just about every episode, so talk about dating yourself.
Well, that's true too, but listen, honestly, you think about it, we're using them as prime examples of what to do and don't do, or you know what I mean. What was funny is I was actually listening to our last episode, and we had two different topics. One was just our banter in the beginning, which had a topic, and then the show's topic. And in both ways, somehow I kind of weaved in Kiss as an example of whatever we were talking about. I think, listen,
is always a common thread.
Right. I think that, for a lack of a better, listen, you know what? There's a band that's, if they're able to weave themselves into the conversation about anything, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you got to say something.
I mean, listen, man, these guys have been around forever. They've done everything. And, they still continue to do things that are, it's amazing to me that, here we go, we're going to start talking about Kiss. It's amazing to me that, these guys still do things that is uncommon. I guess, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, they played Dubai, and they're still continuing doing stuff that maybe they've never done or, that's not normal. And, that says a lot, for a band that's been around for so long.
Yeah, listen, they continue to work. Like you said, they come up with some new ideas. Or maybe they're rehashing some old ideas. Whatever. It doesn't matter. No, they're still doing it.
They're still doing it.
Whether they're doing it to backing tracks, whether they're doing it to people off stage playing guitar, whether people, like as I know with the Dubai show, a lot of people talked about, I think we even talked about it too, it seemed a little tired. It seemed a little, but then listen, we're smack dab in the middle of COVID. The whole
Yeah,
world
yeah.
was kind of like,
Yeah.
like everybody was
Yeah.
still numb and in a cloud.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
but like I said, I haven't listened to that episode recently, but like I said, I think I recall saying, like, I was still excited. Like, I was like, man, that's...
Couldn't wait
I mean,
to
what's
see
the
it.
ultimate thing that bands could do? You play worldwide on a pay-per-view? I don't know. In another country. It's just crazy. So, I know, again, they get a lot of backlash, and there's things that they do that I don't really care, and some of the goofy comments that come out here and there, but you haven't been hearing a lot of that lately.
No, they're
You
busy.
know.
They're
Well,
busy.
they're busy,
They don't have
yeah.
they don't have to stay in the news because they're busy touring.
Well, listen, Paul Stanley just came out with saying something a hair ago. I'm going to date the show. Paul Stanley said something about, the new Pantera lineup is really knocking
yeah.
it out of the park. The little bit
Yeah,
that I seen, the video footage, it is pretty intense. I mean, it's a good group of guys, period,
Yeah.
right? You could have taken the name Pantera away, and you still had these 4 guys. They still were going to come up with something. And that's kind of like where I like to see what's going to happen after this. Like, are they going to really do something? Are they continuing it in the studio? And then what's it going to be?
Well, they did pick up the Metallica tour that's happening next year.
Yeah, well,
I know
that's-
they're doing
yeah.
a lot of dates. I don't know, man. Do you?
Who would they give that to otherwise? Think about it right now.
Oh,
I mean,
there's
that's
nobody.
that. Yeah, I mean, you want to draw in more people?
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it.
100%. 100%. To go back and answer your question about season 5, I'm excited that we're doing a Christmas. I always look forward to doing Christmas episodes because I always have you in mind, and I know how excited you are over the holiday. So
Wow, that question was like 6 minutes ago. I forgot it.
I know. Sorry, we never got to. I got sidetracked because I was talking about dating ourselves. No, so anytime we do something holiday, I get excited because I know how you get excited about the holiday. So that brings me joy.
Well, what's amazing? Because of this show, and I guess because of, the postings that I do, like in the recent, like, say, 2 years, I've encountered individuals that I don't know or I'm meeting for the first time, but they are well aware of my infatuation with the holidays. It's crazy because I'm just talking. This is what we talk about. This is us talking. Like, after the first introduction, I kind of forget that we're recording half the time. I have to remind myself I got to
100%.
get to the mic. I have to go back to the mic.
Yeah.
But it's kind of odd. It's like, oh man, am I giving too much away about my life? Or do people think that I'm whacked? Which I am, but at the same time, Here's something, again, because it's the holiday season, and I just realized it yesterday. And I said something to my son. I said, believe it or not, I have yet to watch a regular holiday movie. I have literally been watching, whenever I can, when that TV goes on, I'm watching Hallmark, and I'm flipping between the two. Hallmark has 6 new movies every weekend.
And you have no problem watching the reruns, like ones.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, the ones I really like. And here's the thing, Chris. I'm not only watching them. I got Xfinity. I'm recording them. My daughter's like, you got to delete something. She goes, you're going to run out of space. I go, no, it's not. It's digital. I go, they'll just charge me a little bit more, and I won't know the difference. Because that's what Comcast or Infinity or whatever they're called now are doing anyway.
yes.
They keep charging you more. You don't know the difference.
You don't.
As long as the TV doesn't go out, you don't know the difference.
You get a bill that looks like a CVS receipt.
That's right.
16 pages
I remember
long.
the days when I was so young and freshly married, and I'm trying to convince my wife we got to get cable, and it was like $22 a month. And she
Yeah,
goes,
yeah.
I'm not sure we can afford this.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
I'll cut an extra lawn. I'll do so. I don't know what I'll do. But we got to get, I go, because I can't stand, But now it's like, I mean, if you look at a cable bill, oh my God. I got a buddy who's got every streaming service you can think of plus, and it's like $700-800 a month.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I can't.
I mean, plus
We
the
had a-
phone, plus the
Yeah.
internet. Oh my God.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Before, when people started getting the streams, people were doing streaming, apps and stuff like that because it was cheaper than cable. Well, now guess what? Now you're paying just the same amount.
Right.
Except now you have like 30 apps, but you're paying the same. You're paying
You're
the
paying the
same
same
price as you
thing.
would for
And
cable.
you know what? Half of them I don't use. Like, I have Prime.
It's
I
100%.
seldomly ever go to Prime. I think the
Yep.
last time, I'm waiting for the new Jack Ryan thing to come out. I think that's what it's called,
yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I haven't watched Prime since the last season. But I
Last
just seen
one,
a
yeah.
preview, so I guess it's coming out. I'll have to figure out how to get back into Prime. I got Paramount. which was CBS before, just for my Star Trek stuff. I got Disney for Star Wars. I mean, like, yeah, I got HBO for, I forget what I got HBO for, the HBO Max thing. I got it for something. And then I've been watching.
Was it the Beatles? Was it the Beatles thing?
It may have been.
HBO? No, that was Disney Channel. I'm sorry.
No, I got, I don't even know what, I said, oh, we should get this. It was like a Harry Potter thing or something.
Oh, okay.
And then I got it, and then, but I've been using that. I've been watching or rewatching for me, and then, kind of experiencing it with my son, Knight Rider. And they just, I didn't finish it. Netflix took it off. It was one of their shows that they pulled off as of the end of November, December 1st.
Oh, yeah.
So there I goes. I dated the show again. And it's available, but you got to pay for it. It's like, I'm not paying for Knight Rider.
It's a shame that Netflix pulls off their good stuff when a lot of their original stuff is, crap.
I know. Well, they want complete content control where they have it. And that's what they've been doing. Some of their stuff has gotten a lot better. Okay.
No, it has. It has.
When
Some
it
of their
first
stuff is
started,
really
like
good.
every single one of their movies was just horrendous.
It was awful.
Yeah, their animations were. Now they're doing deals with big stars and several picture deals with them. Yeah. And some of them are still kind of like, hit or miss or whatever. But the payday for these actors are way better, Some of their stuff is getting better. Some of their stuff that's really good, and this is what I read, is because it's other production companies coming in with already created content, and they're looking for distribution.
Yes.
Right? It's not like,
Yep. So
Anyway.
you mean to tell me you haven't even watched... I watched The Grinch, the original Grinch, the other night, as a matter of fact.
I have not.
And obviously you haven't seen the new Christmas Story.
No, I haven't. And I was
Christmas
just
Story
saying
Christmas.
last night, I says, we got to watch this. Chris said it was pretty good. It was heartwarming. I go, we really got to get to it. So by the weekend, I'm going to start getting back into it. Now, I should retract my statement. On Thanksgiving, I did see Elf, or Elf was playing in the house, the one house that I was at, and it was Home Alone.
Oh, well.
I was like totally captivated by Home Alone. Now, listen, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. I seen it in a theater with my wife, who was then we were still dating. It was amazing then, and there's just something, those nostalgic movies are, as we're kind of segueing into our topic of the show.
Oh, that's true, we are.
But there is something, and again, I don't know if it's nostalgia because of just the time that's passed in our lives, or were they really much better movies in a sense? I mean, they have holiday movies that come out now, but I don't even know what they are. I can't even... The most modern holiday movies, in my opinion now, are like Elf, which is now a classic to everybody. I love Fred Claus. Four Christmases is really good. Right?
Yeah.
I like it. It's one of my staples. I won't watch it twice. It is something that, I'll definitely watch it. Yeah. I did not like the new Grinch cartoon the first time I seen it, but then I liked it better the second time, and each time I liked it more and more and more and more. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, because I have such the Jim Carrey version on my... Yeah,
because you're a big Jim Carrey Grinch guy, right?
Yeah.
You really, really like that.
I really like that. The bummer about this is, here's the bummer to me. When it was ABC Family, then I switched to... Well, it used to be Fox Family, then ABC Family, then it switched to...
And now it's Freeform.
I don't think they're playing it this year, and I may be wrong, but their version is different than the theatrical version. They have additional footage and some alternate footage. And that's not available anywhere. So even when ABC plays it, though they're the same company, ABC, which is Channel 6 here in Philadelphia, they play the theatrical version. And it's good, but there's those little clips and little segments that aren't there that I like that helps the flow of the movie much better. So it's kind of a bummer. But my daughter tells me that she thinks that somewhere on that Xfinity DVR, whatever it's called, we may have recorded it a couple years ago. So, so I haven't gotten to that yet, but,
That thing is buried.
Oh, it's buried, for sure. Buried under Hallmark.
I was watching the original Grinch, and, I mean, to me, the original Grinch is the best one because Boris Karloff does the voice like that, and there's no one better to do the Grinch voice. But I will say, the Grinch is now, whether it be the animated one with Cumberbatch, like other Grinches from any Grinch that you see is really now modeled off of Jim Carrey's version of the Grinch, which I think is really, really interesting to me that, that he portrayed this cartoon character and brought a whole new different life to it. and now all the Grinches are modeled after him, which is, I mean, that just goes to show you the talents of Ron Howard and Jim Carrey. But it's just amazing to me because I watch the original Grinch. I'm like, man, this isn't even close to Jim Carrey's. I mean, some stuff, but not really. Like,
not really. No, I mean,
Jim
Carrey did add a little bit of that original Grinch in there, but then they wanted him to act out his way. I've seen. That's the word, not I saw. I guess it depends on how you say it. I always have to ask my wife. It goes, "It's seen or saw?" I seen your post. I saw your post, and I forget every time, and I have to wait till she tells me, so I can't even give you an answer.
Yell up the stairs.
Yeah, I could. She's the English major. I'm the dunce. You know what I mean? I could barely speak English. Grew up in the ghetto. There was very little. It was a lot of effing and a lot of grunting, pointing. We did pointing. You know what I mean?
Yo, you.
Yo, you.
Yeah, you. Yeah.
That's how my grandfather. You. What? What do you want, Pop? You, go get the you, because he couldn't remember any of our names. That was all right. Listen, I would always say, listen, you don't like us? That's your fault. You knew what you should have not did. You know what I mean? And my grandmother go, well, the fish stinks from the head down. And I was like, well, there you go. You. And for some reason, she would say that, and I'd be the one, or my brother would be the one to get whacked upside the head. So, anyway.
It's Ross the Boss.
This is Stephen Pearson from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
But anyway, going back to, I had seen The Grinch on Broadway when they had it out a couple years ago. And it was that character, it was the Jim Carrey Grinch. I also seen the off-Broadway of it down in Universal, and it was the Jim Carrey type of portrayal.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
I enjoed that. But the one I seen on Broadway up in New York, and I also seen the same show in Philadelphia. Different actor.
Yeah.
But very Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey's.
I've seen Aladdin in a couple different places. I've seen it in New York. I've seen it in Philly. I've seen it in Florida. And they take stuff from the movies. You know what I mean? I know it's you know what I mean, and a certain way that the old Jafar thing and all. So
it makes sense. The Lion King.
It makes sense because that's what people quickly relate to, and why not? Right? It's following a trend, following one that definitely pays off. Years ago, I was in Universal during the Christmas holiday, which is a nightmare. I did the same thing another year in Disney, which I will never do. I love Disney.
Nope, me neither.
But I will never go down
on Christmas.
Yeah, I will never be there in Christmas again. Never.
Did it once, never do it again. And New Year's, never do it.
After Christmas, nah. I was like, I'll go on the off season or.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they said, June, July, beginning August is high time. I'll go there anytime, just not Christmas.
Yeah.
Because, I lost my complete train of thought.
We were talking about the Grinch.
Yeah, I don't know. They have the guy in the suit running around.
Yes.
And he's basically Jim Carrey. And the guy was tall, super tall. I mean, I'm not sure that Jim Carrey's that tall, but I guess he's 6 foot, maybe 6'1". I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
Listen, compared to me, everybody's tall. Right? Everybody's tall. My son's the giant in my household. So that's showing you how short I am.
I will say, the one movie I always watch is Jim Carrey's Disney Christmas Carol. I love that version. Every December 1st, I start reading the book. And I've been doing it for years. I read the original, which is really hard to get through because the language it uses is so hard to understand.
It is
but I get through it because I want to read. I read it every year. And I make sure that when it gets close to Christmas, I always watch the Disney animated Jim Carrey Christmas Carol because it is unbelievable. I love that.
It is a good one. I like Mickey's Christmas Carol too. But going back to the book, I've read it. I actually got it one Christmas. It was gifted to me, and I read it after Christmas. And I'm like, wow, this is rough.
It's brutal.
And thank God film came about in this world because it actually, in my opinion, I wasn't emotionally moved at all through the book.
It's because it's so hard to read.
It's so hard to read. Maybe it was for intelligent, English speaking people back in the 1800s or whenever it was written. But man, thank God movies came in, because I can. Speaking of Christmas Carol, my favorite one is the one with George C. Scott. I love that. That is that 84. That is the best one. I'll watch. I got it on DVD. It's, to me, it's one of the best ones. But yeah. Netflix has a and again,
an animated one.
Yeah, an animated one, which looks similar to the Disney one.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, see what I'm saying? There's not a lot of originality happening anymore. I mean,
no.
I mean, listen, how many times can you repeat the same routine?
Right.
Guy's friend comes back, said, look, you got to change your ways. Yeah, you're an underripe potato. Something in my bowels going, get the hell out of here. Then 3 ghosts come, and then all of a sudden he's buying turkeys for everybody. He's giving everybody the turkey baster, whatever. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's a nice take on the Christmas Carol, the one with Guy Pearce. And they play it a couple years ago. It was originally done in like a 2 or 3-parter. If you haven't seen it, it is on one of the streaming services. I watch it every year now. It's only been a couple years, but it's a very odd one. It's very dark.
You can't forget about the Muppets Christmas Carol.
I love that one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love Muppets Treasure Island with Tim Curry.
Guy Pearce. So he did is it called A Christmas Carol?
I'm not exactly
What was
sure.
it for TV?
It was on the BBC, but it was,
okay.
But it was, listen, the BBC produces really good stuff, good content. It was good. It really was good. It's a different take on it. It sticks to the story, but at the same time, it makes some embellishments that you're going, well, this could be something that, it's interesting.
With Tom Hardy. And Ridley Scott.
Yes, yeah. You should check that out.
I forgot all about that one, Mick.
That's you, dark and grisly. You could do that.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I may have to break that one out. I forgot about that one.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, we were talking about the Christmas Carol. Oh, and speaking of the Christmas Carol, they got dating our show. They got the new one with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds coming out.
Yeah, the cell phone guy.
A loose take on which is like a loose take. Christmas Carol.
Yeah, they've had. Listen, there's a couple of them that Hallmark's done as well. They've done some loose adaptations of the Christmas Carol. Yeah, there's some in there. You can check them out. They're there. I'm telling you, man, it's like 60 new movies just in the season. My point of this whole thing is that I really haven't sat down in my house and watched any of the regular Christmas stuff yet. It's been nonstop Hallmark. And now, I mean, I have my entire family kind of brainwashed with Hallmark, and, it's... So it's tough to change stations. We're like, hey, you want to watch anything else? Oh, I don't know. I mean, do you want to do Hallmark? You want to do this? And it's Hallmark. After we can't figure it out, it's just, all right, Hallmark.
Well, and the thing with that, too, is, I think it's one of those things, like, they're just easy movies, right? Like, you don't have to invest in a lot. You just kind of sit and you have your drinks or, your snacks, and they're just on, right? Like, you're not investing.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have to think. You can just sit and relax and enjoy the entertainment for what
I can get up,
right?
go to the bathroom, and I go, oh, no, don't worry, don't stop it, or keep it going, or don't worry about it, don't put the volume up. I know exactly what's going to happen. So there's not too many surprises. Like, there was one we just watched, 3 Wise Men and a Baby. Right, that's a new one for this year.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, and it's pretty good, and they got a couple other popular Hallmark stars that pop in for like little cameos. And it's like, oh, yeah, 9 Lives of Christmas Lady. There you I don't know anybody's name. I really don't. Like, I mean, come on. They're either ex-soap opera stars, or they had their movie career went nowhere fast, or, you know what I mean? Like, no offense, it went further than Mayan did, right? Mayan never left my house. So I can't remember names. Yeah. I mean, maybe, Candace Cameron Bure, she's not there anymore because she wanted to do more godly stuff. Okay. The one from the Wonder Years, I always forget her name. She left too last year.
Oh, yeah.
So Lacey Chabez, she's now the spokesperson on the radio, and she's got her movies, and it's cool stuff. I mean, I like, look, it's like eating chocolate and candy canes all, at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like over sweet. Whatever, man. I need my oversweet when I can. Come on. That's what happens when you get to a certain age.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, listen, man, the Hallmark Channel, they're doing something right? Because if they're making all these, if they just keep pushing out this content every year, and this is their big time of year, somebody's watching. Like, it's just not you
right.
and
most of it's my house.
Family.
Tons of people are watching. I talk to people, and they go, we'll talk about it, and they'll go, yeah, I got to see this one, and this one. And I go, oh, well, I've seen this one, and this one. I got to catch up with, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's almost 28 minutes, and we haven't even hit the topic of the show yet, but we are talking Christmas.
That's right. We are.
You are listening to The Cosmic Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
So let's get to the topic of the show. And that topic of the show is, does modern Christmas music mean the same as the classics? Does modern Christmas music mean the same as the classics? Chris, let me hear what you have to say.
Well, when we talked about doing this for this year's Christmas show, or a Christmas show that we were going to do, it's hard to look at it with an open mind. And I say that because, and I try to look at both ends. Like I always try to look at both sides of the coin. Because you and I are older guys, so we fall into the category that our parents, right? Like our music was better than your music, whatever the case may be. But I love classic Christmas music. Your Bing Crosby, your Burl Ives, your Brenda Lee, like Dean Martin, of course, and the whole Rat Pack was in the Christmas songs. And that stuff is so good, and it's just so meaningful. Like when I hear Burl Ives or Brenda Lee, like when I hear them sing about Christmas, it just brings joy to my heart. Like it really puts you in the Christmas spirit. Even the comedy songs, like even I don't know, what was the guy's name, Bob Rivers, and all those guys that did comedy, like Dr. Demento's Christmas record and all those things. Like even back then, even those silly little Christmas songs were just great, man. And of course the Muppets Christmas record with John Denver and all these things. They were just great Christmas songs that just really put you in the mood. So when we talked about it, I started to look at the modern Christmas stuff. And, this year, just a few releases that came out within the past week or so is like Pentoxic, which I think they're like an a cappella group. The Backstreet Boys just put out a new one. Dolly Parton just put out a new one. Sia, S-I-A, she just put out a new one. Norah Jones, Chris Isaac, Blake Shelton. So, of course, country music's all, country stars always put out these Christmas records. Even Bare Naked Ladies. Like, so I listened to these Christmas records, and I'm not saying they're bad, because they're not. Because the Chris Isaac one is pretty good, right? And I'm not even going to put in the conversation what's his name, Buccelli, or like he's, in the Bublé. I'm not even putting them in the conversation because they stand out all by themselves. I just don't think that even the Dolly Parton one, like Jimmy Fallon's got a Christmas duet with Dolly Parton, and it's just god awful. And like the new stuff to me, in my opinion, just doesn't bring that Christmas something that the old classics did. Like I'll never forget, like one year my dad was so excited when a Chuck Berry Christmas record was coming out. Like that's all he wanted for Christmas. We went through hell and high water to get him this cassette tape. I mean, I'm going back a number of years ago.
You're dating yourself and the show.
I know I am. But like it's like that kind of stuff like gets you excited about the season. And I just really think that this modern music that we're dealing with today, it just doesn't have that love. It's almost like they're doing it just to do it, just for that Christmas holiday paycheck. Again, I'm not saying that these records are bad, because maybe they're not made for me. I mean, listen, that could be totally legit, but I don't feel like they bring the spirit of the holiday like the original classics did. I mean, there obviously people have been singing about Christmas songs forever. There's just something about those classic Christmas songs that we grew up with and our parents grew up with that just, to me, you can't match them. You really can't.
I would definitely agree. And this is coming from someone who does original Christmas music each year, too. I try to keep it catchy. I try to keep it sentimental. It's got like a jingle to it and all, but it's still, as much as I like it and other people seem to like it as well, I don't think that there's no comparison to those classic songs. Now, again, I don't know if it's the classic songs or is it those classic artists. Let me ask you this first before I go into, when you say the modern Christmas music, are you talking original Christmas music or the just redoing a lot of the old classics? Because there's like a good 10, 15 songs that are done pretty regularly by a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit of both. I mean, that's a really great question I never really thought about. I guess when I hear both, I just don't, well, okay, so that's fair. So let's talk about the original Christmas classics. I feel like when they're done in this day and age by the artists of today, they don't have that.
There's something missing.
Great work. There's just something missing with that stuff. Yes.
Well, I think, and again, this is just my opinion. I think that they did more with less because of the technology back then. So there was much more, in my opinion, this is just me. I mean, because I've thought about this too over the years. Especially, again, not to keep reselling my stuff, but for someone who, on a personal level, I love Christmas music. And I knew someday I wanted to do it. And this group that I'm in made that dream come true. I wasn't able to do it before and, whatever. Right. I think that there's such a personality to those original classic Christmas songs. And again, you're still talking the modern era, maybe not our modern era, but within that 1900s and stuff like that. Then there's the split between, are you talking about the old English songs that were then converted into modern Christmas songs? Or are you talking about the songs that were written by some jingle guy for a movie or a TV show or a commercial spot that became Christmas classics, like White Christmas,
right?
Like Happy Holiday and those type of things, right?
Right.
Maybe no one ever really considered that they would be the hits that they would be.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other thing, too, that why that nostalgia may be kicking in for a lot of us is because they didn't play Christmas music 2 months before Christmas back in the day. Not in our time.
That's a good point.
A lot of radio stations didn't play it 24/7 over the Christmas Eve. They did, Christmas they did, and a little bit into the 26th. But they never did it for weeks on end. I remember, it's an all-week Christmas. Then it was like 2 weeks. Then all of a sudden it was a month. Then, in at one point, like 10 years ago, they were popping that stuff in at the end of October.
Yeah.
Right? But what they would do is regular radio stations, because, again, like we talked about genre hopping, there was a bit of a taboo back in the old days. There was a bit of that, too. They thought they were going to turn people off. They didn't think they could get sponsors on the radio, on FM radio. The old school, you had to turn it on. That it wasn't on an app. But I think a lot of the FM things now do have apps, and everything.
They do, yes,
they
do.
And you can stream them online and whatever the case may be. But they were afraid that they weren't going to get sponsors, bigger sponsors. It's like, what would be the point? Like, you think about it, Hallmark and Lifetime, and there's a couple other stations now that do it too, to run holiday shows 2 months, 2.5 months, that's something that would have never flew anywhere back in the 3 station days, 3 networks, right? I mean, hell, most of the time, stations shut down after 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no programming. Now you're talking 24/7. 24/7 worldwide. I think that scarcity that we grew up in and that our parents grew up in created a little bit more of that feeling. It's like, oh my God, I literally have not heard this song, because think about it, you may have not heard that song for a whole year.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a
Where
great point.
you and I, listen, I talk about it all the time. I have the app, the SiriusXM app. I have the one Christmas app or station that will play all year round. When I'm jonesing, boom. The only other way that I could say back 30, 40 years ago is if I didn't have a 45, I couldn't listen to it. Give you a prime example of where people's heads would have been. The original Santa Claus with Tim Allen, Charlie was being ridiculed by his mom and the sweater dude because it was past Christmas and he was still playing Christmas. He still wanted to be Christmas. And I never could understand that. Like, he's a kid. What difference does it make? Like, it's not like, oh, it's unhealthy. No, it's not. It's just kids working. What's the difference if he wanted to be an astronaut? He would have been playing in a spaceship.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or he wanted to be a cowboy, or he wanted to be a Jedi. I'm in my 50s and I'm still playing Jedi. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in the ghetto, I had a wiffle ball bat, a yellow one. I was Luke. Come on, are you kidding me? My old Taekwondo gi top. If that wasn't Luke Skywalker, I don't know what was.
1000%.
That's right. So don't talk to me about that routine. But think about it. They wrote it into the movie. That was basically the psychology then, right? The train of thought. You can't overdo this.
True.
When Christmas is done, Christmas is done. Now we're on to the next thing. But now, think about it. There's stuff Christmas all year. They got online shopping. You could do this. You could do that. So I think that you're right. I think it may have lost something over the years. And there's so much of it because it is, if you haven't released anything in a while, you know what? Come out with a Christmas song. Because there's plenty of places. It's friendly. You can, and I talk about it myself in a business sense, I get more airplay from stations that I would never get on with my normal band's music. A little heavier Christmas song. Hey, that's cool, man. This is the season. We need that content. Believe it or not, as many bands that are doing it, many artists are doing, there's still so many that aren't. They won't touch it. You have that. You have the content. Are you talking classic, traditional songs, Jingle Bells, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Silent Night, those type of things? Or are you talking the White Christmas era, you know, with Bing Crosby and It's That Time of Year and blah, 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 blah. I mean, here on the East Coast, that whole Frank Sinatra thing was just, it was big.
Yeah.
For a long time. By the mid-90s, most of the country was still living, in a sense, day to day like it was the 1950s. Not much had changed. Yeah, we had bigger screen TVs, maybe more access to this and that. But, you know, we were kind of still in the dark. You still had to wait for your news. There was still the primary 3 stations. You know, you heard your Christmas stuff. And like I said, radio stations kind of, they peppered it in. It wasn't nonstop. I mean, we'll go back to, it's not just music. Think about it. When they played Rudolph, that was a family event. Because it only played it once. And if you missed it, that was it. Right? Santa Claus is coming to town. Year Without a Santa Claus. Fat Albert's Christmas. Whatever. Not even sure we're allowed to talk about Fat Albert anymore. I think, you know, didn't they take all them shows off? I don't even think you can get them anywhere.
Yes, they did.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing. It's good business. But once you get through some of the songs, there's some really good ones. Like the Rob Thomas one, I Believe in Santa Claus. I think that's not new this year, but it's been out like a couple years. That's a really good one.
That is a
very emotional.
Yes. That is,
that's Kelly Clarkson, and we talked about this the other day privately. Like, you know, she came out with a Christmas album a couple years ago. Maybe it wasn't even that long ago, but that's just an amazing album. Her voice is just incredible.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige did Raindrops and Dum 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 Bum 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 Bum. I'll be honest with you, I never liked that song until I heard her version. I'm like, wow, that's an incredible version. It's captivating. It's haunting.
So you think that My Favorite Things?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Listen, I think that what happens with a lot of artists, and this is something we could have concluded in our last episode on genre hopping, a lot of artists, they just kind of, they show up to do it. Because it's easy, right? It's easy. It's something that will stay in the catalog and people can always go back to it. It's always relevant. So it's smart business. I get it. But it's the ones that stand out that really, I think, keep bringing people back home. Like, you really got to have something. This is why Mariah Carey's music for Christmas, you know, she's the queen of Christmas. I don't know who calls her that, but I've heard it multiple times. Well, hey, it doesn't matter. You got to start somewhere, right?
If I'm understanding you correctly, or maybe one of the points you're kind of bringing up is by talking about Rob Thomas and Mary J. Blige, do you think that maybe my way of thinking is wrong? Do you think that modern or today's Christmas music, or at least what's happening in the past couple years, is it not necessarily that the Christmas stuff just has no love or life to it? It just depends on the artist doing it.
Well, yeah, of course. I think it's a little bit of both. Like, it's definitely now a cash cow. Listen, it's always been, right? I mean, people will complain, put the Christ back in Christmas. This is just a commercial holiday. Well, however you want to look at it. It's commercial, yeah, but that's a personal thing. However, I'll give you an example. Taylor Swift came out with Last Christmas, right? That was how many years ago? 10 years ago, 12 years? I don't even know how to say it, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think that was that great of a version. But
no.
It was the first time, and I think there was some other versions prior to that, but that was the one that really... Now, this year, you listen to Hallmark and some of that, there must be like 15 more versions out. And here's the thing. They all sound exactly the same. They're all trying to sound like Taylor Swift. Which is a bad copy of a pretty good song. Because the Wham song, the Wham version, is really good.
Yeah.
It's dynamite.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And now, again, that came up through our era.
Yeah.
Right? There's just something about it that in the translations over the last 40 years seem to be missing. And just this past week, I heard like 4 different versions that I never heard before They just said, here's what Taylor did. I'm going to do the same thing. Same beat, same timing, same delivery. Do something different. Again, I'm going to go back to Mary J. Blige doing that song. She took it a whole different route. And that's what's amazing about it. The other thing is to tie this into the genre hopping thing. This really isn't genre hopping, even though Christmas music in itself is like its own little genre. But it's kind of like, it's just a package that anybody can walk in and out of, and no one's going to have any problems. You know, Twisted Sister did theirs. Dokken did theirs. You go on and on and on. Corners of Sanctuary did theirs. You know, Dolly Parton did hers. Some people are just cashing in on the name. Some people, it's like, hey, this is a good way to get back into whatever it is. Dolly Parton releasing something. Well, listen, you know, she just got inducted. She's riding that train. She's not stupid. I heard some of it. It's not bad. I just don't feel it to be, it's not like heartwarming, moving. But listen, her fans will eat it up, and she'll do well. I think that the artists that put their spin, again, going back to Rob Thomas, that song, that's an original song with a little bit of, it's calling to A Year Without a Santa Claus when they're singing in the kitchen about, you know, I believe in Santa Claus type of thing. But there's something emotional about it. And it draws me, my thinking, my feeling, to that claymation animation, which is my favorite. I love that one. That's my all-time favorite. But he's putting his spin on it. It's him. His style. And that's the problem with genre hopping. People will just kind of copy a song or try something different, but they're not actually putting their stamp on it, in my view. And I think that's maybe what you're missing, what you feel you're maybe missing. It's almost generic now. It's cookie cutter. It's cookie cutter.
Yeah.
When you heard Dean Martin sing, Dean put his... Now, early Dean, the crooner. Later Dean, the character of himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So
100%.
it's right. But in both, he put his style, his stamp on it. Same with Sinatra. Same with Bing Crosby. Same with Perry Como. So on and so, we'll keep going down the line. Burl Ives? Come on, man. Christmas infused with a banjo? Yeah, you put a little delay and reverb on it. That thing sounds, you know, holly jolly. Get out of here. Come on. Stop. So I agree with you. Yeah. Do I continue to listen to it? Yes. It's kind of like Kiss. You may love it and you hate it, but you keep watching it, right? It's like, right, we tied it back in, baby. It's like being a Star Wars fan nowadays in the world of Disney, right?
Right.
You don't like it, you'll complain about it, but you'll continue to watch it. Why? Because it's Star Wars, and if you don't, they're going to throw you out of the Jedi Council. And I'm still holding on to hope. What else, buddy? What else you got? What else you got?
That's it, brother. That is it. There are some, while we were talking, I was thinking of like some other, because you were saying about, you guys doing Christmas songs. And it's totally unfair for me because I can boast about your Christmas songs because I know the person writing the song, right? Like when I hear you guys' Christmas songs, I know where it's coming from, right? So I enjoy those songs because I know you.
Right.
But like even with Twisted Sister, like their Christmas album was great. Like they did a really good job on it. There's just sometimes I just feel that some of these artists are just missing the mark, in my opinion.
Streaming services, in my opinion, have created an outlet, and there's a positive and negative to it. Right? Positive, we all can take advantage of it, both as an audience and as an artist or content provider, whatever you want to call it today. The negative is everybody can be a content provider, no matter who you are. Like we talked about in the beginning, you're getting streaming services with movies and TV shows, and some of them ain't so great. But they need to fill slots.
Yeah.
They need to fill slots because you never know that 1 out of 15 could be the one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's like the Stranger Things and the Sandman and whatever else they got going on that's drawing everybody else in, right?
Yeah.
SiriusXM boasted about, Stern was bringing in all these numbers. Our show is bringing in all these numbers to our station. It's the only show, but there you go. There you go.
Numbers are numbers.
Numbers are numbers. That's right. On paper, it all looks the same. You may not listen. Just like any good creative accounting, you don't have to explain it. You just got to show it on paper. If the numbers add up, you have it. But I think the same thing is now with Christmas. You go to the SiriusXM app, I think they have 15 different Christmas stations right now, right?
Yep.
And then you have content on the radio. Some of our local stations that are playing Christmas songs, really, they play the same 15 songs, 20 songs, I mean, you can't even get Dominic the Donkey that often. Maybe every 3 or 4 days if you're lucky. You know, the hat I got for Christmas is too big. You know, you don't even get that much anymore. I got to go on, when I'm baking cookies, I got to go on my YouTubes to find Dominic the Donkey, and the hat I got for Christmas is too big.
Right.
For me to enjoy my Christmas, right? Why are you going to take that away? Why? Because we're a woke civilization? Listen.
Yeah.
I'm going to break that third or fourth wall, whatever it is. I'm Italian. I want to hear Dominic the Donkey.
I agree.
Okay?
1000%.
Because some of my clothes were made in Brooklyn. I got some beatings in Brooklyn. So there you have it, man. Listen, we were concerned that we weren't sure that this topic would cover the whole show. But with a little creative thinking, Hallmark, and bringing up Kiss as an example, we were able to do it. Hey, everybody, we hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out some of our other episodes, go to www.thecosmicvoice.com. Step into the Cosmic Verse and fill that void. And to date the show, everybody have a happy holiday and a fantastic new year. We'll see you in 2023. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmic Voice. Be sure to check us out at thecosmicvoice.com. Like and follow us on Facebook at The Cosmic Voice. You can find The Cosmic Voice everywhere you listen to online podcasts, like Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, and so many more.
Okay, folks, that will do it for another episode of The Cosmic Voice. Mick and I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
You're listening to The Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.